Hi, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Our devotion for today, August 21st, 2023, is from the book of Acts, chapter 7, verses 5 through 11. When Silas and Timothy arrived from Macedonia, Paul was occupied with the word, testifying to the Jews that the Christ was Jesus. And when they opposed and reviled him, he shook out his garments and said to them, "Your blood be on your own heads. I am innocent. From now on I will go to the Gentiles." And he left there, and he went to the house of a man named Titus Justus, a worshiper of God. His house was next door to the synagogue. Crispus, the ruler of the synagogue, believed in the Lord, together with his entire household, and many of the Corinthians, hearing Paul, believed and were baptized. And the Lord said to Paul one night in a vision, "Don't be afraid, but go on speaking and do not be silent, for I am with you, and no one will attack you or harm you. For I have many in this city who are my people." And he stayed 1 year and 6 months teaching the word of God among them. Sharing the gospel of Jesus can be frustrating at times because of the people who refuse to accept the truth of it, especially when it's been explained to them, and it doesn't matter what kind of religious person they are. If they simply reject this, it's very frustrating. In our devotion text for today, Paul is occupied with the word, testifying to the Jews that the Christ, that is the Messiah, the anointed one of God, was Jesus. And they refused to believe Paul's argument and Paul's evidence, and the arguments became heated. We're told Paul's opponents reviled him, which is another way to say that they were abusive toward Paul. Paul made a strong, sincere effort to present the gospel to his fellow Jews in the hopes that they would embrace the gospel and find salvation through faith in Jesus, God's Messiah. But they preferred to trust in their circumcision rather than in the gospel. This is not the last time Paul will encounter this attitude, and he will address it in some of his letters to the various churches. But now he feels his duty to present them the gospel has been fulfilled, and that their blood will not be held against him when he faces the Lord. They were told, and they rejected it. Their fate is their own. And a larger audience awaits Paul's efforts, awaits his ministry, and that audience is the Gentiles. Paul will spend his energy establishing churches among the Gentiles. What the Lord said to believers about Paul after his encounter with him on Damascus Road is being fulfilled. Paul, the former strict Pharisee, will become the Lord's missionary to the Gentiles, where he will emphasize the gospel, not the law, where he will teach righteousness by faith and not righteousness by works, and where he will become all things to all people in an effort to share the gospel and lead as many as he can to salvation and grow the church. He is even encouraged by the Lord to continue to proclaim the gospel in spite of those who will not receive it in the synagogue. There are many, he says, in the city of Corinth who are his people. Paul's to go to them, preach to them. This is encouragement for us too. As we share the gospel of Jesus with others, we will encounter those who refuse to receive it, refuse to hear it, refuse to believe in it. We must not become discouraged, but rather should press on in other directions, because someone somewhere will hear it and believe. If we fail to share the gospel, there is a possibility the Lord will hold their blood against us when they die in their sins, because we did choose or fail to share the good news with them. However, If we share the gospel of salvation with them and they still refuse, we will not be held accountable for them by the Lord. The Lord wants to save as many as possible, Jew and Gentile. So let us not be deterred in our efforts to share the gospel, but continue to do so with glad and hopeful hearts, trusting in the Lord. Go in peace. Serve the Lord.